Welcome into another episode of Commitment Breakdown. I'm Jacob Rudner alongside Swamp 247 recruiting analyst Blake Alderman. And Blake, it's been a busy couple days for the Gators. They've landed two commitments already this week, one from four-star cornerback Jakeem Jackson, the other from four-star wide receiver Aiden Mizell. And now you and I are here to break down their newest commitment, four-star safety Jordan Castell. What can you tell me about Jordan Castell? What does he bring to the table for the Gators, who are up to now number 13 in the national recruiting rankings?
I think he's an intriguing player, and I say that because I think he's someone that can truly move around in the secondary. He's a 6'2", 195-pound frame kid. So when you look at that, it screams safety. And I think that will be his home room. That's going to be his home spot. But he's a guy that's played a lot of corner at the high school level. I think you could probably see him dabble some at the cornerback position in certain needs, in certain packages. You have a guy that I think can play safety, corner, nickel. And that's good because those plug-and-play guys are the ones that you can get on the field quickly. And I think that was a big reason behind Florida, on top of being able to play under Corey Raymond, who he called the GOAT. And then he called, Patrick Toney, Florida's co-defensive coordinator and safeties coach, called him the Wizard. So he said it felt to be kind of the best of both worlds to play for the GOAT and the Wizard. So that was an interesting conversation to have there. But, I think that you have a guy that's been productive, hasn't really give up very many touchdowns at the high school level. I think that he's probably not the most athletic guy there. But I think the size you have there, I think he has a high upside future at safety. And I think whenever you have, guys like Patrick Toney, who are notably known for, having really good knowledge of the game, and you've got Corey Raymond, who has produced a lot of first-round draft picks and a lot of NFL draft picks, you've got a guy that's going to get some of the best coaching that you can get at Florida. So I really like the pickup. I really like what Florida's doing in the secondary as far as adding these pieces that they've got. So, at this point, they've got a couple lines out on some other guys, like four-star Ohio State commit Dijon Johnson, who was on campus this weekend for Friday Night Lights. And then you've got the big fish out there in five-star Cormani McLean out of Lakeland High School. So, with Sharif Denson, Aaron Gates, you've got now Jordan Castell in the fold, Jakeem Jackson. I think I really like what Florida's putting on. I like what Florida's putting together in the defensive backfield.
Absolutely. And you mentioned it, just the sheer amount of talent that Florida's adding at the moment in its secondary. Again, just to go through that list, it's four-star corner Sharif Denson, four-star corner Jakeem Jackson, four-star athlete prospect Aaron Gates, who's expected to play safety at the University of Florida. And now, of course, Jordan Castell, who is a four-star safety, more potentially to come at the position. This is a big win, though, for Patrick Toney and for the Florida defense, recruiting on that side. He and Corey Raymond are two guys who have done a good job recruiting so far. Just what is your take been on their efforts and just what they've been able to do? Obviously, you've already mentioned the guys who they've been able to bring into the fold. What's your perception just as new coaches at the University of Florida and how those two guys specifically have fared?
I really like what they're putting together on paper. I think that whenever you see what Toney did as far as last cycle before a lot of these staffers filled out, you saw him land Shamar James, you saw him come in and get Devin Moore. Then you look into this year, so far, like I said, he's held on to Aaron Gates, a guy that was committed under the former coaching staff, and then I feel like he and Corey Raymond really work well together, and I think that that's a big part of seeing what they've done so far. As far as, the class they put together in the defensive backfield, I think they really complement each other. You've got a guy that's really well known in Corey Raymond, and you've got a guy that maybe isn't as well known in Patrick Toney. But whenever guys go and visit campus, they're really blown away with how well he knows the game, what his football IQ is, really what he can do to develop guys. And, maybe doesn't have the resume of Corey Raymond, but whenever you sit there and you break down and see some things he did at ULL, and, some of the guys that, you come in and get some of those unknown guys from ULL and you produce those guys into, guys that are, playmakers at the college level and even had some guys drafted. So really like what they're putting together. And I think that, the sky's really the limit for them. Whenever you've got Corey Raymond on staff, that name speaks for itself. And I think Patrick Toney is one of Florida's more underrated recruiters on their staff. And I think he's only going to continue to build his resume and kind of build up his name as he, is at a big stage like Florida.
Sure. And speaking of people who are capable and potentially even above average recruiters, I think that this particular commitment is really important because Florida, in addition to adding a four-star prospect, seemingly adds also an extra, an arm to its recruiting efforts for the rest of this class. We've seen already prior to Jordan Castell's commitment that he was an active advocate for Florida football on social media. He's somebody that clearly has no fear to go after Florida prospects. As a guy who wasn't committed, what does it do for a class when you add a guy like Jordan Castell, who is willing to kind of go out of his way and be that extra recruiter? We've seen that already with four-star running back Florida commit Trayon Webb. Marcus Stokes, Florida's quarterback commit, has done kind of the same. This seems like another opportunity to just add a little bit of a weapon on the trail here.
Absolutely. He's already been recruiting guys for Florida, under the, behind the scenes, as a silent commit. So, one of the quotes that really kind of took away from, my conversation with him whenever we talked before he announced his commitment was that, ballers want to play with ballers. And if you want to play with the best guys, you need to be vocal. You can't just kind of sit around and wait for things to happen. So you've got a guy that's going to be aggressive in recruiting other guys. You've got to shoot your shot. He's going to be on campus. He's an in-state guy. It's not hard for him to get to campus. So you've got a guy that is going to be around a lot of these guys, consistently, you would think. He's obviously was at Friday Night Lights on Friday. He'll, is at the, they're going to be at the cookout on Saturday. So he'll have a lot of these top targets that he'll be in the year. Being a short drive away from Gainesville, you can expect him to be there in the fall. So you've got a guy that, is willing to recruit guys. There's always kind of whenever you have a guy that's committed, you either have someone that's going to kind of sit back and let things play out, or you've got someone that's going to be aggressive in recruiting guys. And I think that, having guys like Marcus Stokes, having guys like Trayon Webb, like you said, and now adding a guy like Jordan Castell, you've got guys that are going to be vocally recruiting guys to Florida. And that really helps out the coaching staff because, it's one thing to have, coach recruit you and, that's great and everything, but a lot, whenever you're playing with these guys, these are the guys you're going to be in the locker room with, you're going to go through the program with. So, having an extra, kind of arm in there as far as recruiting is nothing but a positive. And it's good to have those guys that are going to be willing to recruit guys and be active and want to build a class. And I think that's what Castell's going to do.
No doubt. And that's going to do it for us on this commitment breakdown. Again, we talked about four-star safety commit Jordan Castell announced his commitment to Florida on Saturday morning. Blake, we have plenty of these on our YouTube channel now. You can go back and watch one about Sharif Denson. Of course, the guys this week also had them. That was Jakeem Jackson and Aiden Mizell. Definitely make sure you check those out. Also, head on over to the site, swamp247.com. We've got plenty of written content, not only about recruiting. Friday Night Lights camp was this week. We've got content from that. We're interviewing prospects, but we've also got plenty of preseason football coverage, some basketball coverage going up on the site as well. Lots to do. Make sure you're subscribing both to our YouTube channel and to the site. And with that, I bid you farewell. So for Blake Alderman, I'm Jacob Rudner, and we will see you next time.